Hey, Tammy.
Hey, Brian.
How you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm excited for another episode of Accounting and Accountability. I'm Brian Statina from Falcasson. I am the Director of Tax Services.
Yes, I'm Tammy Wardway, Director of Entrepreneurial Services. I'm tongue-tied today, and I'm out of the Dover office with Brian.
Yeah. So are you getting excited for the Super Bowl?
I'm getting there. I'm really excited about the halftime show, though.
Yeah.
So I must say, during regular season, I can't even tell you the last time I've really seen, aside from playoffs, the Rams and the Bengals even play.
Yeah.
They're two teams I just don't watch,
Sure.
And I don't have like NFL Network, so I count on whatever games are on my local cable provider. So,
Right.
The Rams, I don't even know when like my local cable provider would have a Rams game on,
Right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I was looking at the other day, the last few years the commercials have, they just haven't lived up to it. And
No, I tell you, the best of all time are like the Doritos commercials. Some of those are really funny. And of course, I don't find the H&R Block commercials funny at all.
Yeah, they're just terrible.
And the Budweiser ones have evolved, and they're kind of like, different too. So it'll be sometimes I think I just watch it to see like what's going on out there. And quite frankly, I think companies have stepped up commercials so much over the last, like, probably decade anyways. These insurance companies, oh my gosh, between like Jake at State Farm, and then you have the Mayhem guy at Allstate, and you have Flo, and now Geico. Flo has a whole cast.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but for a half an hour spot on this on the Super Bowl, it's $6.5 million just to have the spot.
Just to have the spot. And then, of course, you have to produce your commercial.
Right. And pay the actors and actresses.
Yeah. Do you think, like, we could afford a 15-minute, 15-second slot one time?
I'm going to pass on that.
Featuring me?
Yes, we would do that. Just for you.
That would get us a lot of business, I'm sure.
Just for you. So, what do we got today?
Oh, my gosh. Well, let me put on my reading glasses because I'm going to give you some stats here, okay?
Oh, boy.
So, you and I love to update everyone on the happenings of the IRS, or maybe the not-so-happenings of the IRS. So, I'm going to just continue on with the doom and gloom. So, there are about 6 million unprocessed 2020 1040s. Now, for those of you that are keeping up, we are just now starting to file 2022. So that means they are now about 2 years behind on those. And if that's not enough, there's 2.3 unprocessed 1040Xs. So that's quite a nightmare. And then you and I know that the IRS is sitting on probably millions and millions of 941Xs as a result of our clients and others getting the employee retention tax credit, the ERTC.
Right. So
you and I also know that they basically have said, like, don't write us because we're not going to open it or process it. And they're answering about 11% of calls I last heard, which I kind of find that hard to believe because it was 5% before, and supposedly it's 11, and we're not having any more luck getting a hold of them than we were before.
Yeah, and I love how they don't want you to write, but yet they'll tell in some of their correspondence they tell you to write back.
Yes, that, and they are disappointingly still sending out these automated generated notices, and we're seeing a lot that say, unfortunately, like intent to levy. Mm-hmm. So they're just automatically generated, and now our poor clients, like, I can just imagine after a hard day's work, they go check their mail, and then they get this, notice in the mail. Mm-hmm. It's really disappointing for our clients and business owners and individuals. It's just a sad situation, and I don't think it's going to get any better for them.
Yeah, and the other thing too, when you were talking about the 2020 returns not being processed, earlier in the year, in 2021, a lot of notices were coming out saying we didn't get your tax return. And they said, don't worry about these. We know, well, they're coming out again. There's another wave of them coming out. We've seen a few of our clients that have paper file have received letters saying we've got your account credited for X dollars, but we don't have a tax return.
Exactly.
Well, it's sitting in your vault somewhere waiting for you to open it. That's why.
Well, and you and I promote all the time, please e-file your return. I know people get worried about, security, but just please consider e-filing your return. Yeah. It's just going to be the best.
And I know Tammy and I have talked about these stats off and on quite a bit. And it's important. We do that for a reason, because we're trying to educate all of you to why it's important to do things the most efficient and effective way. Speaking of that, automation, the IRS is trying to promote, they have been really promoting their online accounts for individuals. You can go online and sign up and have an online account to be able to see payments, taxes owed, so forth and so on. Check your stimulus amounts and all that kind of stuff, child tax credits. Well, they're getting a lot of flack, though, because they started to use this facial recognition, and a lot of folks in Congress are saying that's not good. That's, a security risk, and so the IRS is going to be backing off of that a little bit. They have to submit a photo ID and take a selfie, and the IRS they really liked it. We have a lot of that. All the apps have that, the face recognition thing. Yep. But Congress is really pushing back on it from an IRS perspective.
Right. From what I understood, it was a challenge anyways. It wasn't quite working right when it went on.
Yeah.
So I'd like to give little exception to a rule. So a lot of people know that if they take out of their retirement plan before they're 59 and a half, they could suffer a 10% premature penalty. Well, there is an exception to the penalty, but you have to take out a substantially equal periodic payment, and it must continue for the longer of 5 years or until the recipient, does get to that 59 and a half. So it's not as easy as it sounds to say, oh, well, as long as I take these equal installments. There are some rules around it. And again, it has to be substantial and periodic. But this is a great thing, for example, for someone who's maybe retired at 55 and they're under 59 and a half, but they're going to take out those funds. So, and again, that's what we bring people all the time, are kind of these strategic, out of the box, ideas. And this is one of them.
Right. No, I think that's a great point. And I have a little known fact for you, Tammy.
Oh, okay, please.
So this is something that's been around, I'm going to go back to maybe 2010, and it's called Code Section 1202, and it's basically capital gains tax break on small business stock.
Okay.
So what this is, and it does, you don't see it much for a lot of reasons, but if you're an individual who buys stock in a C corporation, meaning the corporation pays the tax. It's not like what most of our listeners probably have, S corps and LLCs, that has at least less than $50 million in assets. If you hold that asset for 5 years, you can sell that asset, that stock, and not pay any capital gains tax on it.
Wow. Huge.
Now, I've only ever seen this one time in my career, because most people don't want C corps for a lot of reasons, because they want the profits for themselves, and there's double taxation and all sorts of things. So you might really see this if someone was trying to start a corporation to eventually go public, maybe.
Okay.
So when they're small like that and they're starting out, you can invest in them and get it and save and not pay any tax on the capital gains. Because think about it. Let's say you put $50,000 into one of these and you hold it for 5 years, and now the company's valued at $50 million, and you're getting, $1 million or $700,000 for your $50,000. That's a pretty good deal. And you don't pay tax on them.
Yeah.
But they're hard to find. That's the thing.
I was going to say, I can't say that I've even seen any. Certainly not anything recently, but that's good to kind of keep. You never know. You never know. One of our listeners.
I had one client who did it, who came across something and worked out for him. So
exactly.
Kind of piggybacking on that, we were talking about this. They're not S corps, but recently now with S corporations and partnerships, you have to keep track of your basis, and that's kind of like your equity. So think about it like, I go out and buy a share of Coca-Cola stock. I pay $1 for it. That's my basis. If I sell it for $10, I have a $9 gain. Well, with S corps and LLCs, you have to keep track of these basis on your basis schedules. Now, S corps, LLCs are a little bit different because there's a lot more information that goes in there. Mm-hmm. Whereas S corps, the way the returns were filed, you didn't really the IRS couldn't really see what your equity or your basis was. Right. So now what they're doing, they're requiring you to fill out the basis schedules on your on your company S Corp return, but when it gets to you personally, there's an actual form called a 7203. This is a brand new thing this year,
okay,
where you actually have to fill this thing out to disclose your cost basis and your stock to the IRS. And it's a requirement. It's not a if or. You have to do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
More work for us, though, Tammy, right?
More regulation. One more thing to do.
That's right.
Well, I want to give all those listeners some hope too, of maybe some more deduction. So, quite a while back, actually, 2018 was the first effective year where you could no longer deduct unreimbursed employee expenses. Mm-hmm. They used to, like tax prep fees, for example, would go on your Schedule A and you could itemize them. Well, they kind of took that away. Well, let's say you do have a small Schedule C, you can take the prorated part of that invoice that you pay for that Schedule C, and you can deduct that on your Schedule C, or if you have a rental, your Schedule E, or if you have farming activity on your Schedule F. So that's a little hint too, is that if you're in business, have a rental or farming activity, you can possibly still deduct some of those tax prep fees for getting your 1040 done. Now, of course, any fees related to the direct business or rental activity, you can 100% deduct those, but right. You still may be able to prorate what it costs you to have your 1040 prepared.
Sure, because you just usually get one bill, for your 1040, but you can pull some of that out and put it on your Schedule C's or F's to help a little bit.
Right.
All right. So joining us today in the studio is Karen Sposato from Sposato Family Vineyards. We're excited to have her.
Welcome, Karen.
Guys, thanks for having me. I'm really glad you picked a Wednesday so I can shout out Happy Sposato Wine Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. Well, we're happy to have you.
That's it. I'm done for the day. I'm going to go open some wine, and I'm just going to drink wine the rest of the day. So, but thank you for joining us. Obviously you and I have been working together for years, but it's an opportunity today to really hear your story and learn more about Sposato wines and what's going on. We're going to ask you some questions, but I thought maybe if we could just get started and just kind of give us an overview of, and I've heard this before, but I'd love others to hear this, how you got started and how Sposato wines became to be.
Yeah, it's a big story, but I'm going to kind of get a little quicker for you all. So, we have this wonderful landscape company, Pizzato Landscape. This is the 30th year for us. So,
wow, congratulations.
Very proud of that. We've worked really hard. For the last 30 years, we've grown along with Sussex County and all of Delaware. So we service all of Delaware up and down and some of Ocean City and parts of Bethany and Maryland as well. So we're very proud of that. And actually, about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, Tony Sposato and I are business partners, and we own all of the Sposato companies together. And it really came from working out of the landscape and irrigation that is, of course, all about playing in the dirt, all about soil, how important it is, especially in this area. We all know how important the soil is. We have a lot of great restaurants here, but the soils are super important for agriculture. We have a big agricultural area here in Sussex County, and all up and down of Delaware, of course. Yeah. So out of that, playing in the dirt, we really wanted to kind of keep it in the realm of farming and soils, because we know that having really good soil makes really good product. We know that with food, of course, farm to table, and of course with wine. So Tony, having great contacts and doing a lot of business outside of the area, was able to be at a roundtable conference. Didn't really know who he was sitting next to, but it ended up being the vice president of John Deere. Okay, we all know the name John Deere, right?
Sure.
Anonymous, with great equipment to maintain everything that we have to provide us with all kinds of stuff for food and wine and just keeping the soils in the area great. So, and for farmers. So through that contact, he talked with this gentleman about maybe buying some property. And with that came this man saying, hey, have you ever thought of going to another country? And Tony was like, I don't know, kind of risky. What's your idea? So long story short, he takes Tony to Argentina, to Mendoza. And our number one question we always get, of course, is how do you get from Milton, Delaware, to Mendoza, Argentina? This is how we did it, through John Deere. And Tony taking that one trip 12 years ago. So it really changed our idea of what we thought we could do. And it's been rocky. I can't say it's been dry or it has been easy. Nothing's easy. That's been your blood, sweat, and tears, right?
Yeah.
So that's how we got there. So, and why did we go there? That's the second major question that's always asked, because Mendoza is wine country. It's one of the best places. There's 7 wine regions in the world, and Argentina's up there in the top 5. So went there. Tony took me down there 12 years ago. We went round and round. It took us about 2 years to really solidify that we were really going to do this, and was this going to be something that we could actually do in another country. And we did it. We purchased the property in 2012. It's been 10 years, and we went there because we knew that we would be able to grow high quality grapes.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, there's 3 reasons that make up this one big word, terroir. It means the climate. The climate there is desert. So you've got these really great hot days, cool nights. So the grapes grow this wonderful concentration and thicker skins to the grapes. So you're getting a juicier, more intense grape, which is going to produce a great bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So you've got the climate. You've got the altitude. That's the elevation. We're 3,500 feet above sea level. Great, again, for growing high quality grapes.
Right.
And the third thing is the soil.
Yeah.
Climate, the altitude, and the soil. We have great soil. It's the runoff from the Andes Mountains, from the glaciers from millions of years ago, and you can actually see the layers. It's called alluvial soil. So we'll talk a little bit more about that when I talk to you about the bottle and how we got the label and all that. So
wow, I don't even think I knew that. That's great. That's why I love these when we have guests on, because I always learn something that I didn't know before. And I love your earrings, by the way. Oh my gosh, those are so cute.
Those especially for you.
Those are adorable. Oh my gosh, I left mine at home. What was I thinking? I left my wine ones at home.
You know, my background, Tammy and Brian, is that I was a former first grade teacher. So I'm I am the director, I am the president, part owner with Tony of Sposato Family Vineyards. So I do all the marketing and promoting, and I love to have fun with people.
Oh yeah, and you're good at it too.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So you said the climate, the altitude, and the soil were key. So it sounds like, it's just perfect, this meeting 12 years ago and how it evolved. But I'm sure there were some obstacles. So what was like some of maybe, your biggest obstacles going into this?
Well, I'd have to say just making sure we had the right people to help us. And we were lucky that we joined a PAC group down there, and we worked that out. It was a lot of really interviewing people and just spending the time down there. I think the biggest obstacle, of course, is it's in South America. It's a country away.
Right.
Of course, the barrier of the language. Neither of us speak Spanish, but everyone there speaks English. So lucky for us, that worked out. So I'd have to say really just finding the time to get there, finding the right people to work with, and that was a process of studying and researching. Again, John Deere really helped that process out. So I'd have to say that, again, it was with anything that you do, it's not something we just jumped into. It was a 2-year process. So, and of course now we have that obstacle of the pandemic and that kind of. That's now we're getting through that, but back then it was again just like I mentioned. But we've gotten through it and worked through it. And if something that you want, you'll do it. You just keep at it. Right.
And I know Brian and I went to a tasting before the pandemic, and you were there and you were hosting, and it was a local liquor store down in the Dewey area, and that was a lot of fun. I've gone to a dinner where you had kind of partnered and had a pairing, and that was awesome too. And I've always been intrigued and love like your design of your label, but I don't know if there's a story behind that. So, tell us a little bit about that too.
Right. Well, I'm glad you asked that. It's a great question. And that does one of the things that we do, of course, at all of our wine tastings and our wine dinners is people that are interested, they want to know about how the story. But the story, I guess I'll pull out one of my favorites to start out. Of course, it's our fresh blend. And It's already been opened if you can see. It's great. It's a little bubbly. It's a light-bodied wine. It's super fresh, hence the label Fresh Blend. Yeah. It is our only wine that is semi-sweet. And as you can see, it's a beautiful label.
Yes.
And I'm going to pull out this is a classic bottle. I'm going to pull out the Malbec, which is the signature grape of Argentina. So you can see the two different labels. This is a red wine. This is a blended semi-sweet white wine. Yeah. So see the label? Beautiful. This is, the reason I mentioned to you about the terroir, the climate, the altitude, and the soil. Again, we wanted to represent that. You don't even really have to see our name. You see that. It's like, Prince and the sign. Remember when?
It's awesome.
Yeah. So you know it's us coming and going. Nobody else has this label. It's ours, and it's unique to our label because you can tell the story when you have your friends over. You're like, man, I know these people. What's really cool is that the every bottle is bright, and it shows the three streaks: the topsoil, the subsoil, and on the bottom, it's actually a rocky soil, and it's represented. And then we have this great line that's split label. It's not a split label on the Fresh Blend or the Rosé, but it is on all the other bottles. A little texture, but it tells the story of us coming into this project, being landscapers, that the soil is really what's so important. Mm-hmm. This represents, we call it the Sposato Canyon. It's actually a 10-foot dry creek that runs through the farm. Yeah. And hopefully your listeners maybe will be able to tag on a little video at the end. We can throw that out, the link to them, and they'll be able to go and see, it's a blurb, maybe 30 seconds. It'll kind of take them through with some music, and then you'll see where that 10-foot dry creek runs through the farm. And why that's so important to us, you can actually see the layers of the soil. You can actually walk through it. And of course, again, keeping the whole idea that we came as landscapers, soil. The reason we kept that, we could have plowed it down and planted the vines, but we said, let's keep it because it means it has meaning and it tells our story. It's our label. And you can also see the animals that burrow in there.
Oh, neat.
A lot of really cool reasons why we have that.
Well, as you know, branding is so important, and it's such a, it's so great because when you go to some place to buy wine, there's a lot of wine to choose from, right? Just like with any product, really.
Yes.
And you want something that pops out, and that does. It pops out. It's just that's unique. So then you say, oh, well, let me look at that. And then somebody looks at it and say, oh, this looks good, and then they end up buying it. So I think you guys did a wonderful job on that.
Beautiful. Yeah. The one reminds me of sea glass, which sea glass makes me happy anyways, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we love our Fresh Blend. I'm going to pour it in the glass. When I take off the lid, it's really cool because it has this, and maybe you can see it, some bubbles, some.
Yes.
I'll pour it in my glass.
Oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. Stop.
I'm sorry that you're not able to have some of this.
Could you just take a little sip?
Yeah. It's a really great light-bodied wine, and it lasts for a couple of days. The effervescence and the frizzante will stay in this bottle. It's great for the beach. And you can, again, it's a light-bodied wine, something you want to start with at the beginning of your day, of your weekend. You're having a brunch, or even our wine dinners. We're actually having a wine dinner this Saturday. I was going to mention that. At Fish On in Lewis, and this is going to be the first thing that you have when you come. So,
so that's Saturday at Fish On. And I love Fish On, anyways. Their food's amazing. Oh,
the 12th, yeah.
Oh, so that's good that you brought that point up, that one lasts actually a couple days. So a lot of times
it's really going to last too long because Tammy, you're going to drink it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But stick it in your fridge, put the lid on. This is what's great about our classic line. We've got these twist off caps. Here's our Sauvignon Blanc in another color, pretty clean.
One of my favorites.
You take it off. You put it on, and you've got a good 2 to 3 days. I think by day 3, you'll probably already have it'll be gone. But it'll last. And that's kind of a nice little point to have. People used to think that twist-off caps meant it wasn't good wine.
Yeah, but exactly.
I have a rule. I have a rule at my house. If I open up a bottle of wine, it gets drank that same day.
Yeah. It's not hard to do. So, my husband never was a wine drinker, and I started out with sweet wines, and then I got into a little bit drier. And then that same tasting we went to, my husband tried your Sauvignon Blanc. And do you know, to this day, him and I can share Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, and he loves Sposato Sauvignon Blanc. So I have to give you guys credit for introducing the whites to my husband. So now we could share a bottle of wine, and it is gone at one dinner because there's two of us.
Well, just a real quick little thing. Do you know how many glasses are in a bottle?
Well, I'm probably gonna be wrong if you're asking it, but I'm assuming 4. But if you pour it like I do, it's really 2.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you can get 4 or 5 if you're.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on the ounces that you get. But you mentioned the Sauvignon Blanc and the Chardonnay, and those 2 grapes are actually in here, along with the white grape of Argentina. That makes up the 3rd grape, and that's the Torrontés grape. So that's why it's such a floral note. That's why it's such a nice light-bodied wine.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick that up for sure when the weather gets a little bit warmer. I have to pick that one up. I think I'll love it. So tell us, because personally over the years, I have found that the Delaware distribution laws have been tough. So where does someone find your wines?
Great question. So I know you guys are located in Dover and you're off in Rehoboth, right?
Right.
In the Rehoboth area, I can tell you that we're all up and down Route 1. You can find us at all the big liquor stores, the outlet liquors. I hate if I start mentioning and I miss somebody, but if you're on Route 1, any liquor store that you come across will have our wine. Mm-hmm. So without me sitting here mentioning them all to you, you can get them up and down. Now, when you get closer to up where you are, it's a little sparse. We've got Milford, Cypress Liquors. Dover, not a whole lot going on. We're working on getting into that one big Dover Mr. B's liquor warehouse.
Yeah.
We're not in there yet, but you can get us on your way if you're in Wilmington. We're in Total Wines in Wilmington. We're at Frank's Wines in Wilmington.
Nice.
Pico's, Concord Pike Liquors, Creston Wines.
Oh, yeah.
Liquors, Kirkwood Liquors, Fairfax, Newcastle Spirits, the Wine and Spirit Company. So those are just to name a few up there. Fairfield, if I forgot them. Those are some of the ones up north in the Wilmington area. Again, as I mentioned, down here, Outlet Pacific, Atlantic, Bin 66, Teller Wines. Mm-hmm. Actually, as you were asking me, I told you we're doing a wine dinner on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Fish On, which is right in Lewis. And, of course, on 2nd Street, we've got R&L Liquors. They're huge supporters of us. Bin 66, as I mentioned, they'll be our retail liquor store for the wine dinner. But I'm doing on Friday, the 18th of February, which is National Drink Wine Day.
Hey.
Oh, National Drink Wine Day. You got to come down to Bethany.
I'm writing that down. The 18th. Okay.
Banks Wine and Spirits, Cami Banks, great. They're great supporters of us as well. Just got that lined up, so that'll be on Friday. And these events that I'm talking to you about right now, they might go in one ear and out the other. You can always get us online. I'm going to give that out because what I'd love to have people do is get on our website. Just go down to the bottom and you can put your email in. Then you'll be able to join our events and you'll know where the tastings and the dinners are.
And how about restaurants? Is it a challenge to try to get into restaurants?
Well, I have to say here in our area where the landscape company is and where people know the name Sposato. You say the Sposato name, hey, it's a small state. Everybody knows who we are. That's great. We appreciate it. Locals supporting locals, people that are coming into town. We love getting new people from all over New Jersey, the tri-area, PA, New York, Maryland, Connecticut. People coming down, that in droves. And they take the wines back with them. They bring them here. So the restaurants in the area have been great. We've got the Sodell Group. I can't even list all the restaurants.
Oh, yeah. All the amazing restaurants, yeah.
Umbrella covers tons of restaurants. But the Sodell Group carries all Sposato Reserve Malbec in all of their restaurants. So
nice.
The Big Fish Group, north and south, you go up to Wilmington, they carry our Sauvignon Blanc and the Malbec. Which are great, again, of Argentina. 1776 are great supporter. They've got 3 different varietals. Some restaurants that are just on their own. Harbor in Lewis, the Wheelhouse, got Touch of Italy. I could, kind of go on. I don't want to leave people out. There's, again, lots of great supporters of us, and we really appreciate everybody getting into the Ocean City market down in that area, of course. And one of the big ones that I'm excited about is there's this really cool new bar that's on the top of this new hotel. I'm sorry, it just went out of my mind, but the bar's name is Spain. It's a rooftop bar. If you just Googled Spain and Ocean City, it's a rooftop bar, and it's a really great new place.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
Yeah. And then, our biggest thing is, I'm sorry, Tammy, maybe you were going to ask this question. Being in the restaurants in Delaware is one thing and great. So we're really trying to balance out now that we're able to get out of the pandemic into some other states.
Right. Absolutely. Well, you're like you said, great name, great story, really getting out there. And I think it'll catch on. And you always have new announcements. So we do see some new announcements for the Sposato family vineyards. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was hoping that you could see, maybe the sunlight's coming in through my window here, but I tried to set up this table behind me so you can kind of see. The portfolio of Sposato wines is really unique and really great for everybody because we have something for everyone, for everyone's palate and for everyone's pocketbook, I say. And again, I've talked to you a little bit about the classic wine. It's the twist off cap. It's the classic wine. You're going to find it in retail liquor stores between $10 and $12, maybe a little more towards the city or upstate. And I have a bottle of rosé. Love the rosé every day, all day. We've gotten some points awarded from 2 top wine critics. This is 90 points from Tim Atkin. He's a United Kingdom wine critic. You can look him up. And that's really cool. People say, well, what does that mean? Big deal. You got some points. It is a big deal because we didn't pay these people to give us. We sent our wine to them. Here's a bottle from James Suckling. This is going to be featured at the Big Fish or the Fish on Wine dinner on Saturday, and it's from 91 points from James Suckling. He's an American wine critic. You can look these guys up, and it just gives your bottle, your wines, and your portfolio some notoriety. Word of mouth, people are like, hey, it's got points. That must means it's good wine. I'm going to buy it.
Absolutely. I mean, if I see that, if I'm looking for wine and I see that, that's just another notch in your belt.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Another reason to buy it. So
absolutely.
So coming out, you were saying, Tammy, with what's coming next? Again, we're doing more wine dinners. We're branching out into Maryland, getting into Pennsylvania, which is a really tough market. But if you have friends in Pennsylvania, or you know anyone, or people that are coming from Pennsylvania, we like to let them know that the state stores have the classic Malbec on the shelves. You have to ask, or you can actually Google or call the stores, and they'll let you know that we do have it there. So you can purchase. That's the one varietal that you can get in PA. And I think the cool thing I have back here in the back is our newest. Gosh, it's such a cool thing because you hear about the bottles, but we have box wines. Box wine is huge. It's hot.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've got in the background here this really cool, beautiful box of Chardonnay.
Check that out.
Oh my gosh.
That's gorgeous. Pandora's box. I love it.
Oh my God, I love that.
Oh, beautiful color. It's a box with 4 bottles in it. All right. So what's greater? It fits in your purse. It's woman wine. We have a woman winemaker. She created this. So we love to give a shout out for the women. It's 100% organic. That's a big plus. It's vegan and gluten free. So people love to hear that. And of course it's made in Argentina, along with the soil and all that good stuff. But what's really cool is on the back. If you can see the back of this, there's a QR code. It has our name at the bottom because we really wanted to give Pandora a shot, and we didn't put our name all over the front of it, but it's a Sposato product. It's made in Argentina, and you can actually put your phone up to here where you would, when you go to restaurants and you want to pull,
yes,
you put your phone up there to the QR code, and it takes you to our vineyard.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So you'll get a little 30-second, 40-second, a little bit dramatic music. It's great, and you'll be able to see what's going on there, and you'll be able to see the Sposato, as I mentioned, the Sposato Canyon.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, 4 bottles in here, and the back of it says, humanity's hope is born from their care for the environment. So, we're all trying to be more cautious about how important our environment is, and so
that is excellent.
Is that retailing already too now?
That is, I'm sorry, say that again?
Is that retailing also? Is that out there now?
Okay. So the Banks tasting that we're doing, we're going to feature the wines there as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really, let me pull out a box of red blend. So we have 4. We have the Sauvignon Blanc, the red blend, the Malbec, and the Sauvignon, the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
So what's really nice is you've got a little handle here. You can carry it. It's you can see that it's a bag wine. It's great. It will last not just 2 days, 2 weeks.
Wow.
4 bottles for 2 weeks. It retails between $20 and $25 depending on which liquor store you're going to be shopping. And it's real easy here to pull this out. There's a little, so it's great. I bought these little stands. So if you're having a little party, you get a little stand, you put her on there, and then you pop it out in the front, and it has, you pull it up, you pull it down, take this off, and it has a little spout that you pull it out in the front.
Nice.
Oh, perfect.
And then it's really easy. People can, and what's too easy is that when you pour it, it comes out really fast.
That's okay.
So
you might
you might end up with a full glass.
Really great product. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you showed that to us. That is awesome. I love that.
So super excited about that, and just really happy to be able that the market's opening up, and we have a lot of people that really are becoming more interested in it. And wine's just fun. I encourage people. I mean, I'm not the expert, but I feel like I'm the expert on Sposato wine, but not all wines. Lots of people will say, so how do you compare your wine to something else? And I don't really compare. I just say, well, this is what I taste in my wine. And when you taste wine, it's really all about your palate, what you I could tell you the best wine of ours, but you might not like that. You might like something else. And
I love that you say that, because I felt like, as me not being like a sophisticated wine connoisseur, like I always felt embarrassed that, at first I like sweets and whatnot, and I didn't maybe like the wines I should, and then just to hear you say it's whatever tastes good to you.
It really is. It really is. When I taught first grade, I had this thing that, I had this hand puppet that I used so that the kids would learn the vowels and the five vowels in the alphabet. So I decided, as I was thinking about, there's always stuff rattling around in my head with wine, because there's so much that you can do. And I listen to podcasts, and I listen to people that are sophisticated wine snobs, and they listen to people that are really fun. And, they tell you what do you really want to know about wine, right? What do you want to know? So there's 5 things that you want to remember about wine, okay? When you get a glass of wine, this is what you do. There's 5 S's, I call it. The first thing it has to be a Sposato. That's number 1 S. The second thing is the C. You see the wine, all right? That's important, because when you see the wine, you're going to decide for yourself. And you can see this. This is a light-bodied wine, because I can see through it, right?
Yeah.
You get into I'm going to pull up this bottle. I love this bottle. It is our Premium Reserve Grand Malbec.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to open this up with my wine key, my Sposato wine key, and I poured it in the Sposato glass, you're not going to be able to see through this one.
Yeah.
Because it's a heavier bodied wine. So that's the second S. You have to take a look at your wine to see what you're drinking.
Sure.
All right. Third thing is swirl. You got to get the swirl down. Notice I don't hold it here. All right. I don't want wine here, because you're going to warm it up with your hand. In Argentina, they like to hold it here. I'm a little iffy on that. I might drop it. I like it here. All right. So I'm swirling it. What does swirling do? Kind of gets the aromas going. Brings it up to you smell. Next thing, get your nose in there. You need to sniff it. You gotta sniff it. All right. Smell what it is. It's very floral. This is very floral. It has notes, and I can almost smell the sweetness of it, right?
Yeah. And
then the last thing, after you've Sposato bottle, you see it, you swirl it, you smell it. What are you doing next?
Sipping it.
Sipping
it,
baby. Like, switch it down. There you go.
That's so good.
Yeah, we definitely blew the timing of this one, man. I am like really wanting a glass of wine.
I'm soldering now.
Tammy, you know what? We could skip out the rest of the day. Who cares?
I know.
That was awesome.
Gosh. That is so cool. That is wonderful. Oh my gosh. Well, I love this. I love to hear everything that you have going on. New product introducement. I know in some of the articles it's mentioned that you were in a male-dominated industry. Was that a challenge for you?
Well, I have to say, coming from teaching, and elementary school is kind of a female-dominated area, because most of the teachers that I worked with, the only person when I worked at my school that I was at Indian River, was our principal. Wow. He was the only male in the whole school, honestly. Back then. That's been quite a few years, 20 years to be exact, actually. I'm certain it's changed, but coming from working with women all the time and knowing how we women are, and then jumping into this wine thing, it's funny, I really didn't maybe notice it so much, Tammy, until I started going into the liquor stores. Mm-hmm. And really, when you're in the liquor stores, it is really male dominated. But for me, I'm really just, you ask anybody about who I am and they will tell you, I just go with the flow. So I didn't really feel that it was any kind of a difficult process for me. I can talk to people easily, and I really enjoy what I do. So being able to share it with others, I think that I take a lot of what the gentlemen that I work with, the knowledge, because a lot of these men are the ones that are the wine reps and the people that work in the distributorship with Breakthrough Beverage, which is our distributor. Mm-hmm. They've done it for 30 years. They know this stuff. They've been in and out of the restaurants and carried the boxes and the pallets of wine. So it's now becoming there's more females in this industry. And I think that you can also see that in the restaurant industry. Yeah. There's more women who own restaurants as well. So I think it's becoming, I think we respect each other.
Yeah. And I really think your personality and passion for what you do kind of breaks down any of those barriers, really. So
well, what are you trying to say? She just lights up a room, doesn't she?
She does. She does.
Thank you. I mean, I want people to have as much fun when they drink the wine as I do presenting it to them.
Right. Yeah.
You should, because that's what this is about. Wine is about, I say it's a culture, and it's a culture of travel. You start talking to people and they start talking about where they had their glass of wine. Oh my gosh, I went to France. We went to this amazing vineyard, or I went to Ireland. We went to a castle and we had this great wine dinner. Of course, they're drinking beer over there and whiskey, but you know what I mean? So it's a culture of the people. You travel and you get to know their culture, their music. Yeah. In Argentina, what's their music? It's Argentine. It's the salsa. They're doing the tango. Mm-hmm. What are they eating? They're having steak as their biggest thing. Steak and this wonderful bottle of Malbec. That's the best pairing that you can get. Argentine steak is amazing. And you know why? The soil that the animals eat. That makes the difference in the product of the meat. And they cook their meat on these asados, so it's wood inspired. Mm-hmm. It takes like all day. When you go to asado, it's a barbecue on a Sunday, and they're enjoying the wine, and it's an all day affair. So, it's the music, it's the art, the culture, the wine, and the travel. And so I love that, and I think other people love to share that as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to experience something different than what we do here in America, and be able to cut loose like that. So
that's true. Yeah.
Oh, well, gosh, Karen, thank you so much. It's been definitely a treat to have you on our podcast. And why don't you wrap it up by telling us where they can find you online?
Yes, thank you. And I want to thank you and Brian for having us podcast on. And just, you're such great supporters of us as well. So I can't thank you enough. And your listeners, you can find Sposato Family Vineyards. We have a lot of, we're out there on social media. We have Facebook page on, here in the States. I run that. We have a Facebook page, Sposato Family Vineyards in Argentina. So you can also look that up. Our team in Argentina, we have a great team. I want to mention them. We've got Eduardo Nogal. He is our vineyard manager. accountant as well. We have Sergio Rinaldi. He's our agronomist. He helps and works with Eduardo with the soils. He's the soil guy. We have, of course, our woman winemaker. Her name is F-E-R Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. She is brand new in the last year and a half, the woman winemaker of Pandora's Box. Nice. But she's jumped on just recently with Lucas Ricciardi, who's now kind of stepped down, and he is also helping out as a consultant to Fur. Mm-hmm. And who have I forgotten? Oh, Mariana Baptiste. She does what I do, marketing and sales in Argentina. Nice. So you can find us on Instagram, Sposato Wines, Sposato Wines Argentina, and of course, Sposato Karen on Instagram and Karen Howard Sposato on Facebook. And if you've just like too much going on, just go on SposatoFamilyVineyards.com.
Well, as long as you remember the first S and the 5 S's in Sposato, you're good.
You got it. Just make sure it's Sposato. You're seeing it, you're smelling it, you're swirling it, and you're sipping it.
Nice.
Keep sipping Sposato is all I got to say on wine.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. I mean, it's obvious, to our listeners, you put the work in, you've put the work in, and you continue to, and that's what entrepreneurs do. And we like to highlight entrepreneurs, and that's why one of the reasons we wanted to have you here, not only to get my mouth watering a little bit about wine, but other than, that's good. But we appreciate you coming on board and really look forward to what Sposato Wines has to bring in the future.
Thanks so much, guys. Again, I can't thank you enough for having me. It's my pleasure and my joy. And definitely check us out. Hope to see you at some of our events. And I'm going to have to drop off some wine down in Rehoboth for you too.
There you go.
All right. After tax season, we'll definitely see you in around town.
We're gonna need it, right?
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye,
see you
Karen.
Now.
Keep sipping.
I am Eduardo Nogal, Director of Operations of Sposato Family Vineyards in Argentina, and it's a pleasure for me to develop this project from here for Karen, for Tony, and for you too. We are really pleased to work with Breakthrough USA, providing high quality and consistent wines from the other side of the world. Wine is a big part of our culture. It's definitely our everyday lifestyle. Let me introduce you our Argentinian team, a staff of great professionals who support me every day in this challenge.
I'm Sergio Rinaldi, and I've been Sposato Vineyard Consultant since 2011. I'm in charge of choosing the terroir and vineyard management, aiming at improving grape quality.
My name is Federico Maiocchi, Vineyard Manager Agronomist. I'm proud to belong to Sposato's family and take care of the vineyards from which our wonderful wines are obtained.
I'm Fernanda Gonzalez, winemaker and production manager. I'm proud of making Sposato wines with that passion so that you enjoy them in the US.
I'm Lucas Ricciardi, Sposato's winemaking consultant. I help Fernanda with decisions regarding the winemaking process, style of wines and blends.
I'm Mariana Batis, Marketing and Sales Administration of Sposato Family Vineyards, Argentina. It's a pleasure to work on the development and communication of wines and help you to sell them in your country.
We love what we do. We are here to support you, and we really hope to see you soon to sell together.